Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be making my famous macaroni and cheese. I've made it different ways over the years, and this way has stuck probably for the last 2 years. I haven't changed it at all, and I changed it for many years. So obviously this is the best one that I found. So we're going to use Barilla pasta. I only use Barilla. It has little ridges in the pasta, well, actually on the pasta, so it actually holds the juices and the cheese much better. Nice texture. You're going to cook this al dente. We'll talk about what al dente means in a little bit. So you can use the Saltini pasta or the elbow pasta, either one, as long as it's Barilla, okay? And then we're going to use white cheddar. I use the white cheddar. This is one I buy from Aldi's. I shop there quite often, and this one I found very good. This is a 10-ounce package. We're going to use 2 10-ounce packages of the white cheddar. Then we're going to use a Colby Jack, and then we're going to use an extra sharp cheddar cheese. It has to be extra sharp, not sharp. Extra sharp. You're going to need that, okay? So you got your Colby Jack. I want to make sure I show you your white cheddar, and then your pasta, okay? So we're starting with those items. Then we're going to use a whole container of heavy whipping cream. So this is for 1 pan of macaroni and cheese. This whole container of heavy whipping cream. And we're going to use 1 egg in our recipe today. And we're going to use smoked paprika. I'm going to use garlic powder. I have another one in there. We're going to use a lot more than there. And seasoned salt. This one was fine. I usually use Lawry's. This I found at Aldi's, and I said I'm going to use it. No problem. So these are our ingredients to get started. So first I'm going to go ahead and boil my noodles, okay? Okay, now we've boiled our noodles. I did 13 minutes, and it's a nice al dente. It's nice and hot. So you don't want to overcook your macaroni. When you overcook your macaroni, what happens is the juices can't go into the noodles. The noodles won't absorb any of the juices. So that's why you cook al dente. Let the juices get in there and get into the noodles. If you don't do it al dente, if you fully cook the noodle, the juices sit on top. That's exactly the secret to that, okay? So we want al dente. So now we're going to get our noodles in our bowl, in our dish. I'm using I think it's a 9 by, what size is this pan exactly? Let me measure this pan for you right now. I want you to know exactly what it is. Let me see. 9 by, it's like a 9 by, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9 by 8, but no, I don't, this, anyway, maybe a 9 by 6, something like that. So you want to just have this amount of noodles for this recipe, okay? If you double it, you need a bigger pan because you don't want to overstuff the pan. You can't do that. So we're going to add just a little butter. I'm going to add a little butter to this. I don't add too much butter because you'll start to see that butter on the top of your, like when you're done, you'll see it gets kind of loose in there. So you don't want to use a lot of butter. Absolutely not. I'm just going to add a little butter because I'm getting ready to add my seasonings. Every step is really important in the macaroni and cheese. That's why it comes out so good. You gotta use some TLC, which I always do. My children love the macaroni and cheese. It's when I say I make macaroni and cheese, oh, you make mac and cheese? Okay, I'm coming over. I'm getting some. That's how it goes. But who doesn't love good macaroni and cheese? And I like that mine is pretty easy. It's not really complicated. Some people have, I have different cheeses, but you saw how simple it was. Let's see, here we go. So I wanted to just get that butter in there a little bit. So now I'm going to season my noodles. So I'm going to use seasoned salt. And since I don't measure, I will tell you it's probably, at the end of the day, in this, a tablespoon seasoned salt, okay? And we're going to use some smoked paprika. I always use organic wherever I can for flavor. We're just going to sprinkle that on top of there. Go back and forth one time. That's it. Come up once and come back once. If that tells you how much, maybe half a tablespoon. Now we're going to lots of garlic. The secret to this one, lots of garlic. I use garlic. It is so good in the mac and cheese. And it looks like it's too much, but it's not. And let's just say for this, 3 tablespoons of garlic. Okay, 3 tablespoons of garlic for this. I already got my cheese ready. I shredded all my cheese, put it together, and I mixed it up so that it's blended. Some people put mozzarella. I used to put mozzarella in it. Stopped doing that a long time ago as well. And like I said, this is the one I've been making for the last 2 years or so, maybe longer. Maybe, yeah, around there, maybe a little longer. But it's the one we found that has been the tastiest, creamy, and you don't overcook it. And if you think about it, the noodles are pretty much done. The oven is preheating for at 350 right now. We're going to warm some milk. So in a few minutes, we're going to warm the milk. Well, actually in a minute. Get that milk warmed. Now the same pan I use my noodles is where we're going to warm the milk. Just gonna pour this in here. And we're going to add our egg to this, 1 egg. Just hold it a little bit. It doesn't need 2 eggs. I think 2 eggs would make it stiff, too stiff. We want creamy macaroni and cheese. That's what we want. Going to add 1 egg to that. Some people have to crack the egg into a bowl. If you're not really comfortable cracking the egg over your food, crack it into a bowl so if you get any egg shell in there, you can get it out. I have the heat on pretty low, a low heat, not too high, because you don't want it to burn. You don't want to cook your milk. You want to warm your milk, okay? We're going to stir in our egg. Why we warm the milk? I don't know. My grandmother taught me to warm the milk years and years ago. And I don't even know what it's like to not warm it. So what difference it's making, I'm not exactly sure, but it works for me. But I warm the milk, and the warm milk over the warm macaroni, it makes sense rather than cold milk. So I warm the milk. We're going to season the milk a little bit as well, which is, again, heavy whipping cream. I got a whisk. Let's see here. We're going to put a little salt and pepper in here. And I think you know what else I'm going to put in here too. I'm going to put a little garlic powder in here. It sounds like it's too much, but it's really not. It gives wonderful flavor to this mac and cheese. Now this has been my recipe. I make it for everyone who wants me to make macaroni and cheese. So you're getting a really good one here. Instead of I'm going to use the black pepper. I'm not going to use the Himalayan sea salt. The Himalayan sea salt is very, very light. It's great for eggs, something on those lines, something like eggs is great, but I don't know. when I'm cooking like this, I use the regular sea salt. So we'll do some black pepper. I'm gonna get around here and get some salt. Do you have one of these? These are great. The automatic. I gotta fill this up. The automatic over there. There we go. Again, if you've watched any of my videos, I don't like to over salt the food, because once you put the salt in, you can't take it back. So I'd rather put a little less and need more. So my son does carpentry, and he says, what? Measure twice, cut once. Same thing with salt for me. So I'm gonna let that milk warm just a little bit. We'll get the cheese and the macaroni, and then we'll get the milk on there too. Okay, let's get our cheese in here. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I use my hands for everything. I clean my hands, they are washed. Just wash your hands and go for it. I'm overdue for a manicure. I'm overdue for a few things, but it's been a pretty busy first of the year. So we're gonna put some in first, and then I'll work that in, and then we'll put more in. Let's work that all the way through, as much as you can. And I do shred it. Some people do chunks of cheese. They cut it in little square chunks. I've had it. It was delicious. But when I do that, it doesn't. I've done it before. It didn't work as well for me. So I just shred my cheese. Get it through as much as possible. Work that cheese in there. You want your noodles to have, you want all the noodles covered. So it may take a couple minutes just to work it in. Let's see, I'm gonna bake some chicken for this later. So we're gonna have this with some baked chicken and some green beans. That sounds good for dinner. So after I do this, I'll bake some chicken. I'll show you how I bake chicken another day. So that's working pretty good. Let's do some more. And I'm gonna save a little bit for the top. Not a lot, but because it's got so much cheese going through here, that's enough for the top. So we'll work that in. Yes. You guys are getting the scoop on some good mac and cheese. And right now, looks like you're not sure about it, but guess what? It's delicious. You'll see. Like I said, the noodles make the biggest difference. Just having the Barilla pasta and that noodle that holds the juices and the cheese, it's really fantastic. Didn't know the noodles make such a difference. I didn't know they would make such a difference. Had no idea. Because I used to buy a different brand, you know, and my sister told me about Barilla. She said, well, I don't use Barilla. I mean, I have used it, but I didn't notice the difference. I really wasn't paying attention to the noodle making such a difference. She said, no, use the Barilla. I've been using it ever since. So, okay, our macaroni is pretty covered. And I have my milk warming up. Look how fast this is. You know, what took the longest? Shredding the cheese. Honestly. That's what took the longest. Okay. Okay. Now I'm going to take my warm milk that I just got off the stove, and I'm going to let me see if I can show you this way. I'm going to go over my noodles side to side slowly so it can go on all the noodles. And another tip that I found is to let it sit before you put it in the oven, because it gives it a chance to settle in. All the juices kind of go through the noodles. Okay? So let it sit. Even before you put it in the oven. I would say if you have time to let it sit about 20 minutes. If not, you can put it in the oven. But I found that if it sits a little bit, all those juices kind of go through the noodles. We're going to push it around a little bit, get it in there, get it all in there. Let's see here. Just keep pressing down a little bit here. Let's see here. Okay, that's looking good. Let's see, get that off of there. I want all the cheese in here, all of it. Delicious. You can see how this is going to look. I'm going to cover it with foil for about, now because I was saying earlier, I think I cut myself off. When the food, think about it, the milk is milk and the noodles are pretty much done. So it doesn't need to be in the oven an extremely long time. I think people overbake mac and cheese. You take it out when you think it needs another 10 minutes, take it out because it's so hot that the juices are still cooking, everything's still cooking and adhering to everything. So the key is to let it sit before you dig in. That's the key. So we're gonna cover this up with some foil. Foil here. Cover this up nice and tight. And I would say we're going to let it cook for 30 minutes with the foil on, okay? 30 minutes, and then we'll look at 15 minutes after we take it off, okay? So 30 minutes with the foil on, and then we'll take a look at it, but I think it'll be another 15 minutes with it off. So you're talking about 45 minutes max. So an hour and a half of macaroni, that's too long. That's too long, way too long. And then plus you overcook your heavy whipping cream. Heavy whipping cream, the hotter it gets and the longer you cook it, it thins out. It's no longer creamy. So that's the key. You want to take it out before it starts to dissipate and turns juicy. You want it to be creamy, okay? So that's a big key to that. So I'm going to put this in the oven and we'll be back to check on it and we'll see when we're taking the foil off, okay? Okay, we just took it out the oven after 30 minutes. Let's see where we are. Look at that. See all the milk, everything around there? 30 minutes. I'm gonna add a little paprika to the top, just for a little color. And we'll cook it the rest of the way. We'll see where we are at 15 minutes with the foil off. I'm telling you, it smells so good already. But you really want it to be creamy macaroni and cheese. You don't want it stiff, that like block of, you want creamy macaroni and cheese. And this is how you get creamy macaroni and cheese. So we're gonna go ahead and put it in the oven. Now this is our finished product. Out of the oven, beautiful golden brown. It was in for another 15 minutes uncovered. So 30 minutes covered, 15 minutes uncovered. Now what we'll do later on is I'm gonna let it set for about 20 minutes and then it's ready to go ahead and scoop into, and I will plate it and show you how it looks, nice and creamy macaroni and cheese. Oh, it looks delicious. Doesn't it look good? Okay, so I checked on the mac and cheese and it needed another 10 minutes. So now it's perfect. This is gonna be delicious. I will plate it in a few minutes for you like I promised, so you can see how it looks on a plate and how creamy it is. It's gonna be really good. Okay, it's finally done. So we're gonna see how this came out. Gonna just see how creamy it is. Looks perfect. Look at this. Look at that. Perfect. Perfect mac and cheese. And when I tell you it's cream, you can see how creamy it is. Delicious. That's how you want it in your, you don't want stiff pieces. I know. This is what I want to see in my pan. Let me see if I can turn it around so you can see. That's what you want to see. That cream in there. That's cheesy, delicious mac and cheese. And when I tell you my family and my friends love it, it's my most requested dish that I make for anyone. So I really do hope you enjoy. And thank you so much for visiting my channel. And I hope to see you again soon. Please like, share, and subscribe for more.